All right. So you have your Nathaniel Woods, who was executed yesterday morning in Alabama due to compliance of murder. Now, since 1983, the state of Alabama has executed two individuals due to compliance of capital murder. And with this situation here, as I correctly analyzed this, it was an incident that happened back in 2004, 2005, and where three police officers were killed due to like an invasion they were doing, a crack house, I believe it was between Kerry Spencer, which was Nathaniel Woods' roommate in that particular time. And and to Kerry Spencer's defense, he killed them. He killed the three officers. One was severely injured. It was actually four officers, but three officers were killed. One was severely injured. It was Matthew Collins. And interesting enough, Kerry Spencer, he said he was defending Nathaniel Woods, who was being assaulted. Now, I was trying to think like, okay, what was the whole point of the officers getting into the situation? Why did they go in here and bust down the doors? And so, yeah, maybe they had suspicious of drugs. Particular time, like, okay, arrest him, and he's been on death row ever since. Now, Ivy, who is the governor of Alabama, she refused to grant clemency for Mr. Nathaniel Woods as they did initial investigations, and they noticed that, okay, well, he didn't pull the trigger. And even Matthew Collins, who was the police officer who survived this particular incident, he was stating that, hey, it were shots fired, but Nathaniel Woods, when I was hiding, he did not shoot. He did not shoot at me. He did not shoot at the officers at all, my partners or anything. Kerry Spencer. Now, do I believe that Kerry Spencer should get life in prison? Maybe. Or do it 20 or 30 years, because yes, you're taking innocent lives, and because of something that you're hiding, something that you're not supposed to be doing in this world that's illegal. But Daniel Woods and his family, I think they really got this wrong here, because it makes me think about the whole situation that happened with Anthony Ray Hinton. He was in death row for 30 years for a particular crime that he didn't do. Someone was robbed in the 1980s, and somebody was robbed and he got killed, and he was at his job, working the midnight shifts. He was in his 20s and everything, trying to get everything going for himself, living with his mother. And they actually made a movie about this situation. And he was on death row for 30 years. They just had to get somebody because they felt like, oh, he fit the description, and they assumed that it was an African American that did this. And as I noticed, they really don't arrest other races of people. Really, they just want to make an example out of him. And he went through this whole notion of like, dang, man, what I need to do, how can I get a lawyer? And they know that the African American demographic, the people in that particular state, the average person can't afford a great lawyer to the point that they can have all the necessary resources to actually prove them, to get them off of death row, because they still estimate the death penalty when it comes to these criminal cases. And luckily enough, thank God for Brian Stevenson. Brian Stevenson was able to step in before he had all these other lawyers. After he had those other lawyers, and Brian Stevenson dedicated himself to help death row inmates, man, just hear their story, hear their particular story, because the people in the world will continuously to shut them out. The jury will shut them out. I mean, the governor, the judges are not on their side, man. I mean, they would get pulled over because they look suspicious, man. And they don't have to really, they get away with this because they don't have to really fit the description. They want to continuously have money regulated in the state, and it's just to make the people think that, okay, well, it's this man, it's just these random people, and we're gonna get look at their background, and we're gonna actually prove these false notions, like, okay, well, the reason why we decided to get him because in the past he did this and that, but it has nothing to do with the crime that happened. So it's pretty much like it's giving people a false hope, and it's not. It's pretty much injustice. That's what they're insinuating with. And the state of Alabama and many other states are notorious for this, man. But it's a really sad thing, man. Just to hear about this. You have celebrities like Kim Kardashian West. She's just talking about this and tweeting about this whole situation here, and just being an advocate of just making sure people don't really be a victim of the Justice Department, man. And I just think about this, man. He had lethal injection, and it's he's away from his family. He's done. They got his mind, all these type of things, man. He was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I do believe that he did not do it. I mean, you had a white officer who ended up saying that, hey, he did not shoot at me. Please, right into the the governor. The governor has the responsibility to grant mercy. Like the Centoria Brown situation, they had the governor can do that. The president of the United States can't really step in too much in these type of cases here. But I just hearing like the African American black males just getting killed and getting wrongfully indicted and convicted. It hurts my soul, man, my heart to see this. I don't know how long this. I don't know what's going to take. Because is it like maybe a war between black men and a lot of things. It makes you really think about that, man. Yeah, we might need more black lawyers and more Brian Stevensons, but there's only so much you can do, man. You can't really change the heart of people, man, if it's really set in stone to make an example out of you. And that's what I really think it is, man. And just hearing about this, he's gone, due to this horrible incident happened in 2004. I don't know, man. But whether if he, glad if he gave his life to Christ during this particular time when he was just by himself in isolation and just trying to find ways to keep his head high. I just hope that his soul, he be rest in peace and rest in heaven, with the rest of his family and people that cares for him and his creator. But it's really sad, man. I don't know who's gonna be responsible for this. It could have been, hey, he did his time, let him go. No, let's do an initial investigation. But no, it's more like, hey, I feel like if we've been going on for this for too long, somebody gonna have to die. And I won't be surprised if they try to do Kerry Spencer next, even though he admitted so many times that he killed the officers. But they still, time and time again, if you're with compliance in the state of Alabama of capital murder, regardless if you pull the trigger or not, you're considered guilty or being a death penalty. You're subjected to the death penalty, and the jury and the judge can do whatever they want to you. And that's just too much power and authority to people who actually had nothing to do with this type of situation. Yeah, the people saying their whole statement was that he lured the police officers into an ambush and allowed Kerry Spencer to have the advantage to kill him. So hey, he was a compliance of murder. Let's get him, and he needs to die because what he has done. Now, all to the families, to the police officers, my condolences to you. That's a really sad thing. You want to see your husband, your father, or whatever, your uncle, cousin, to come back home safely. Doing their work for the city. But at the same time, man, the justice system, it can't be biased like this, man. And I just really feel like, as African black male, you see things like, when, a white teacher went up, having oral sex with a 14-year-old student, clearly is evidence there. I know that's not, well, I guess that could be a criminal case, whatever, but oral sex with a 14-year-old, and next thing you know, she just had probation and she still have her teaching certificate, and we reversed the roles. If it was an African American male who does that to a 14-year-old girl, he would have life in prison or something. They would have took his license or anything, man. They would put him literally like underneath the cell. And we just look at and analyze these type of things, man. Trayvon Martin cases, police brutality cases. Yeah, we can stood up here and say like, okay, well, Nathaniel Woods shouldn't be selling these drugs. He shouldn't be doing these type of things. But yeah, you got other races that do these things in America, but they don't get treated as harsh. And, that's our frustration that's coming from. Yeah, we cannot simply just expect people to be good all the time, but when it comes to fair sentencing, that's a huge issue, in this country that we need to address. I don't know if any advocates or NAACP is going to really step into this, because there's probably many other brothers that are still in prison for life for something they didn't do, or for a half-ass investigation because they didn't have like the lawyers, or they didn't have the right type of resources or money to help them get themselves out of that situation. And so, and I just think that they just playing in the devil's playground in this particular moment, man. But this your boy Lee Jr. That's all I really have to say. Link is gonna be in the description box of this whole situation here, this whole article. I just want to kind of put this out here. I believe they really got this wrong here. I think Nathaniel Woods, even if he so-called did, I don't have the footage or anything, so I'm not like an investigator. So I'm just going back by what people have seen and said and experienced during that incident. based on the article, and I'll just give my thoughts and opinions on this and what has Alabama been known for in the past. You think about the state of Alabama as well. That I'll just say that if you're over age 50, can't have more than 3 kids, or you have to at least have you're required to have a vasectomy, and as a male, you have to pay for your own medical expenses to cover that. It's just really ridiculous, bro. I mean, the only good thing about Alabama that people say is, right, I'll probably say the football team, college football team. I don't know, man. It's no disrespect to people who's there, but it's just, this has been going on since the 80s, man. And they still have a old, ancient just system on how they do things, man, when it comes to murder. And they just seem like they just projecting to black African American males. And it's not a good thing, man. It's like a war zone there, because they know that if the black male is out of the community, the black community, the community won't stand. Because our black women need other black men. They need a man in general to go in here and lead and be that disciplinary. It's kind of very difficult for a woman to fulfill both roles. It's not in their nature. But that's all I really have to say. My heart is into this. To the Nathaniel Woods family, man. Wow, just hope things would change, man. Just want them to hear none about this in the future. But it's 2020. Are we regressing or progressing in the justice system? You guys tell me what you guys think. It's your boy Young Lee Jr. You guys can like, comment, subscribe, please. Donate to the channel at Young Lee Jr. and the Cash App, man. For interviews, email me at writing9312@gmail.com. I'm out. Deuces.